Konnichiwa!
Ahoy, crypto pirates! Welcome to your Discord Syndicate's FN Hangout. I am the captain, your Captain RG3. Put those down so we don't get shut off. Coming at you live on a Friday night. For those of you boring enough to be out on a Friday night sitting in front of your computer, like me, but I have an excuse. I'm an old man. You guys are young and still have life left in you. Hold on one second here. Let me flip this over and get myself into the chat room. Say hello. Are we good here? Yeah, we are good. Good. What's up, Melv Tony? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Thanks for all you do. Shout out to Melv Tony, everybody. Show him some love. He's our man that's been here from day one, and he's in all of the Hexican streams, throwing up the stats, letting everybody know what's going on. Appreciate you, bro. You are the man. Centurion 54X. Let's go. Winning. Yes, we are. I've got a problem with my mic. Can you guys hear me? Let me see. Hold on one second. Check. 1, 2. I got problems. Let's see here. You guys can hear me? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me see here. Give me 1 second. Technical difficulties have been check. What is going on? All right. Check 1, 2. This is not good. Unless we've got a channel problem, because I can't hear out of one ear. Check 1, 2. No. All right. You can hear me? Okay, good. Then I'm not going to worry too much about it. My monitor is just not, my audio monitor is just not working properly. Check. Okay. All right. Anyway, welcome everybody. Good to see you. Let's see who's in the chat room. Remember, this is your show. For those of you who don't know, this is the only Hexican stream that just lets anybody on. I don't know if there's any streams out there, just lets anybody on, throws a link out there and lets everybody come in. That's what this is for. We did it because of the haters. We had haters and also we had brilliant Hexicans that we wanted to come in here. And we had people we wanted to break into streaming. And my goodness, they came and they just went out there and did amazing stuff. And we're proud of that. We're proud to be we birth Hexicans here at the DS. Used to be like, we used to have like 7 or 8 different streamers here doing their own shows. And now it's just me, still here, still on Friday nights doing the thing. So anyway, good to see you, Centurion. Rhino came right over from Philadelphia. Well, good to have you. Oh, Quinn, Hexy Quinn, a lady. Welcome. Good to see you around. Good to see you here. Free ES, what's up? When the DS intro still gives you goosebumps. It still gives me goosebumps. I've been doing this for over 5 years now. Poof. And I love it, man. I love it. Shout out to the Nils one for that, for never hitting me up for playing his song as my intro. One of these days, maybe I'll get to meet him or something. But anyway, people think that's my son. But maybe he is, maybe he isn't. How you doing, Drex? Good to see you, buddy. Who else in here? Cake. RH is the man for what he did for crypto. No one could do it but RH, in my opinion. I think there's capable people out there. I just think that, and this was going to be my topic tonight, was, it takes a certain type of person to do the right thing. And that's what this world is lacking, is people just deciding to go out and do the right thing. I know a lot of people, a lot of devs, a lot of people in the crypto space, they go out and try and start to do the right thing. And then something sways them. It looks too easy to take and they end up doing it. And I've seen it time and time again from, so-called brilliant people just taken from others and doing stuff that they shouldn't. And it hurts the whole system. I mean, I'm watching like mainstream news for the last few days, and there's been a lot of you know, stuff going on in the crypto space because now legislation is starting to you know, get stuck in the hands of the legislators. And you know, we got this new bill coming out, and I have mixed feelings about it. I think that Brian Armstrong over at Coinbase is right in what he's saying about this new legislation. I just don't know if we got enough time to do what he wants to do. So if you don't know, gosh, I can't remember the senator or the congresswoman his name right off the bat. Someone would probably throw it in here, who put up legislation for stablecoin bill. And this stablecoin bill could go through and pass, you know, quickly. It's already wrote, it's ready to go. The lobbyists, the crypto lobbyists, have gone in there and set this bill on their desks, and they're trying to get it signed. Now, Coinbase balked, Brian balked, and asked if they hold off, said, hey man, you know, don't push this thing through. Let's get crypto regulation into the bill, and let's do a big like crypto omnibus bill, right? Put a bunch of stuff in, you know, and that concerns me because I want to make sure that the right things get put in there, and that we don't get put on the table as far as DeFi and the Hexican community goes. And we end up at the table, and that these lobbyists with the money don't get their way and get rid of all of us. So that's kind of like what's going on right now. Are they going to write bigger legislation for crypto, or and put it in this bill, or are they just going to try and pass, you know, what they can right now because they have the stablecoin thing right now, which would set a great precedent, meaning that, you know, hey, we're getting legislation out there now for crypto, so we have some tracks to run on. But they're only putting one rail out there, and although it's nice to see that they're building something and they're leaning into crypto, and we're going to get some type of legislation, but it's not everything we need, and that's what Brian is saying. And although I appreciate that, I just don't know if we have enough time to write the whole bill that we want and get it done, get it passed, get it through before something could happen. And that's something being the midterms here in the United States. If you guys don't know, you know, the midterms is going to be next year. So they're going to start, you know, campaigning and everything. And if the favorable to crypto party right now, which happens to be the Republicans, loses the House or the Senate, then that could really gum things up and screw things up for the next 4 years. And then we'd have to wait for another, you know, 2 more years after that to get things. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Do you want the whole thing, or do we just take what we can get now? So I'm with Brian on this. I'd like to see them put something together, do it quickly. It's got to be there. We've got to have legislation ready to go. And that lobby group, and maybe Brian knows something we don't, and that stuff's already wrote up. They just need to get in front of them. I hope that's the case, but I would like to see it. I'd like to see what's in that thing before it does go into the House for a vote. So yeah, so that's what's going on. That's important. The other thing, and the thing that I do not like, is this ramrodding of the Bitcoin reserve. I do not like the idea of a Bitcoin reserve, and that's just my opinion. I think it's dangerous. You know, I don't like making taxpayers of this country pay for anything, especially something that could possibly be a rug pull to the maxis, because you guys know how I feel about the Bitcoin maxis. I don't trust them. I don't believe in them. I think they sold us all out. I think they're faking the funk. And I know a lot of the maxis that are behind all that stuff. And, you know, I don't appreciate them because they don't appreciate us. So anyway, that's my take on that. Anybody else got a take? More than willing to go ahead and state your case, and we can have a discourse on that. Quinn's watching in the living room. Watching in the living room. Oh, I can't wait to talk about what's going on too. Oh, the weight that is off of my shoulders, guys. The weight that is off my shoulders. Hear you, but you're blurry. Am I still blurry? Am I blurry? Blurry? I shouldn't be blurry. I'm looking at everything looks fine as far as my what you call it. Video quality choppy or just for me? Damn, choppy. Let me see. Oh man, my son's home. Oh, I hope he's not. He does this stuff on the internet and just trashes me. I gotta upgrade the internet and get it a little bit better. Thanks. Okay, everybody says they can hear me and everything. Blah, blah, blah. You're coming up in like 240p video quality. Hold on, let me see. Let me double check something here. I am in high definition, baby. 720. I don't know why. Don't know why. It's showing me on 720. I can't get the 1080 for whatever reason. Because anyway, I thought I should have the 1080. Let me double check here and see if already live. Oh, you can't do it until you got to do it once you go live. You can't switch it. So anyway, let's see who's in here. Max Yasbin. Hey, what's happening, dude? It's been a while since I've seen you. Best entertainment in the last 5 years. Hey, thank you, pesky girl. Appreciate you. Welcome. Crypto CPT. What's happening, homie? Now we just need Interpol issue to be settled against RH. Well, I don't know if that's even an issue, to be completely honest. We'll see how that turns out. We'll see how it turns out. What's all good? 144p. What's up, 43 OG? Oh, my boy. Good to see you, man. Stylus 19, 72p, 35p. Oh, shit. It's getting back. It's getting bad. Shit. Am I coming in through like Roblox or something like that? Is it Roblox? I don't know. I just know those things because my kids play them. My son plays Fortnite and tanks. Whatever am I trying to do? Backwards hat dad. Hey. What's up, dude? Let's see. Free EES. What's up with you? You are a bit blurry. What's up? Yeah, it's good to see you too, 43. So, a lot of cool stuff's going on. A lot of cool stuff. You know, me personally, I'm having a freaking time of my life. Just got back from overseas. Started a new show. If you guys didn't see, myself, Triplet Dad, and Crispy Man started a new show called Burn It All. It's another one of my ways of trying to break into other communities, and it happens to be the cigar community. And so our new show is Burn It All, and we are definitely tapping into the cigar world, and because it's a disruptive industry too. That's gate kept like we are. So, just kind of a brief, just to kind of show you guys the crossover. We all know that, look, I don't condone the use of tobacco, period. If you do, you should quit. But I don't have very many vices left. And cigars is one of my vices. And I've not talked about that forever. And but I started looking at what was going on in the cigar world, and there's some disruptive stuff going on in the cigar world, and there's some gatekeeping going on. And with the dangers of vapes and cigarettes, the cigar world has been lumped into it. Now, the cigar world is old. I mean, the cigar world is ancient. Like, it goes back to my people, the natives here in these lands from South America and North America. Tobacco is sacred. Sacrament to us. Cigars came from here. We used to roll up this deal and hit on it, and there's different forms of it. There's leisurely smoke, and then there's also prayer, meditation, smoke, and use of tobacco in our ceremonies and things. And so tobacco goes way back, and it's sacred nature. Now, here's something, I'm going to get a little spiritual on you guys. But like, we got, chastised or ridiculed for, the reverence that the native people here had for the sun, which we knew was important to us and what it did and what it brought and the life it brought and everything. The water, we had songs and dances and ceremonies for the water because we knew that if you fucked up the water, that you're fucking up yourself. So don't fuck with the water. Take care of the water. Pray for the water. The water's sacred. Don't mess with it. You need it. Same with the air. Same with, the animals it gave to us. Same with tobacco. If you treat it properly, it'll do good things for you. If you don't treat it properly, the more and more you abuse these things, the worse and worse they are for human nature. And you might, you don't have to put a real spiritual thing on it, but if you treat something with that much respect and you only use it for ceremonies, then it doesn't hurt you. But if you start abusing it and you start breaking it down into its chemical makeup and stuffing it down your lungs to get that quick high, then now you started messing with it so much that you've started to hurt yourself. So these things are important, to me. So tobacco and the sacrament that is my cigars, which I partake in, is gatekept because the cigar world that is old. I mean, some of these companies go back hundreds of years. Families that have been, farming and making cigars for hundreds of years are still out there trying to do business in this gatekept world of theirs, where they have an all natural product that doesn't have any chemicals in it, that people enjoy, and it gets lumped in with things like vape, which we know is very dangerous, very damaging to young people and everything else. So they're trying to separate themselves, and the industry's been gatekept for a long time. So there's a lot of disruptive people out there that are speaking truth to power, kind of like what we do here. So I like that. I've always liked being on the side of the revolution or the rebel. And damn, it's a hard life, but I love being in the fight. So yeah, so I started a new show. It's called Burn It All. It's on Thursdays, and of course YouTube doesn't like tobacco shows and whatnot. So of course we're gonna get throttled down and all that stuff. But anyway, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun doing that. Let's see, Stylus 19. I'm here for the gas station pills, and of course our boy Litecoin Moses, aka Hex Jesus, aka Miguel, aka DCC. Yeah, he said he's gonna come. I sent him a thing, and yeah, if he shows up, great. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Appreciate William Dugan. Appreciate all you do for us, Captain. I'm excited for Q3, Q4 on PulseChain. Glory time. I couldn't agree with you more, man. I couldn't agree with you more. I think that we are getting set up for what could possibly be an epic bull market in the altcoin seasons, provided everything sits straight. Let's just see. Let's see. Backwards hat dad just finished smoking a Monte Cristo. That sounds awesome. Hey, Monte Cristo, are you out of the States or are you in the States, Monte Cristo? A lot of people don't know what that means. Anyone want to talk crypto? Yeah, we're going to talk crypto for sure. We're going to talk crypto. But hey, you know what it's about? It's about onboarding. And if we want crypto to go up, we've got to bring other people in. So check this out. Follow me here. So I've been talking to you guys about, our echo chamber. We have an echo chamber of, I think the demographic in crypto is like 22 to 35 is like, the main demographic males in the United States. It's a fucking circle jerk. I'm sorry. It is a circle jerk. And, high testosterone individuals in the early manhood of their life makes for a bad combination when you have something like crypto thrown in in the middle of it. So having a bigger audience, having a bigger tent, onboarding people that have money, that have time, the cigar world is not, when you sit down and have a cigar, first of all, if you don't know, it takes you an hour and a half to smoke a cigar, hour and a half. Usually you do it in a lounge or somewhere, and a lot of good conversations and a lot of people with expendable income, because these things cost anywhere from, $8, $10 to all the way up to $150, $200, and so these are people with expendable income, usually people my age, older, 10 years, somewhere between the ages of 45 and 65. And that's where the money is, guys. That's where the money is. Boomers are dying. Boomers are getting old, and they're passing that money down to Xers. And the people with the money need to know what to do with it, because they are out of options. And we have a great option for those folks. And so that's why I want to break into that community. All right. I've got somebody in the green room, folks. Somebody's in the green room. Let me say hi to last of everybody. Hexican Lost in Asia, to you too. Hexander, what is up? What's happening? Damien and Hallen, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Bull market is so weak, even Captain's frame rate is running at dial U speeds. Damn it. I'm gonna bring my guests on, and then I'm going to yell upstairs and see if I can get somebody to stop using my internet connection. Maybe I might have to come in and come out or something like that. See if that'll work. I'll give it a try. All right, but before I do that, I am going to bring, now this guy here has been, he started Discourse Syndicate with me, for those of you who don't know. We've become freaking good friends. We've traveled together. We've been to conventions and all kinds of things together around the country and stuff. And we've built other businesses together and supported one another. And I've always just loved his approach to crypto. He's a diehard Hexican, but he's also not afraid to go out there. He was one of those people that could cross over and talk about any crypto, and nobody gave him shit for it, because he came to this community with that in his back pocket, and he embraced this community, and he continued to do his thing, and it worked out. And I think that we should treat everybody like, DCC gets treated. I mean, he's taken his share of shit too, of course, because we all have in this community. You can't, no good deed goes, whatever the fuck you call it, right? So anyway, everybody, my good buddy and new dad, Dollar Cost Crypto. What's up, bud?
What's up, G? What's going on, man? It's no good deed gets unpunished.
There you go. No good deed gets unpunished.
I went back with a Discourse Syndicate.
Are you seeing my frame rate? Like,
oh yeah, brother, you're 144. You're on a potato right now.
All right, let me. I'm gonna bring the other guest up so you guys can talk a little bit, and then I'm gonna try and see if I can unfuck this. So right, everybody else, we got a new guest here, Taurus Table Talk. What's happening, dude? How you doing?
What's up, man? Not new, but
well,
that hat is pretty fly, bro.
On this show.
Well, yeah, I've been. First time I ever streamed was on your show.
Good God, man, I'm getting old. I can't remember shit now. CRS. Hey,
it's all good.
Welcome, man. I'm gonna jump off real quick and see if I can fix this. I'll be right back.
Not a problem.
Man. I shouldn't fuck up the stream, so hold on.
No. You should be fine. But hey, man, nice to meet you, Taurus.
Yeah, no, bro. I just saw you in Vegas.
I'm guessing you're not a Gemini.
No, we were just chilling in Vegas.
Yeah, no, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Vegas is especially when we throw events. That's why I love Vegas so much. I'm situated out of Vegas now. I highly recommend the Hexicans come through Vegas. We're making it a spot for crypto. It's insane. I'm shocked at how many crypto conventions there is there. It's kind of like it's one of the cheapest way to kind of go to the most amount of events. And kind of really started influencing. I've been able to get a lot of good, cool connections and stuff just by going to just random events, or like sometimes you don't even have to pay for the event. You just go to the casino it's at, and you'll see people with badges everywhere, just like we were at the Flamingo, right? And you store up conversations, and like I've onboarded quite a lot of people just doing that alone, which is really cool.
Yeah, totally. You know, at the first Hex meetup, there was a lot of onboarding going on.
Yeah.
It was, you know, it was a smaller group. I think there was only like 100 people or something, but it was, you know, when you're walking around, you all have the Hex t-shirt on, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, people are like, oh, what's that? You know? And yeah, it was interesting that bull market, you know, there was a lot more people that were seeking help on like how to get into crypto.
Right.
I had a lot more people then than I did the past year or two.
I mean, this last year has been pretty brutal. I mean, I'd say it's kind of like it's been a kangaroo market. I know in Hexico we have a lot of Australians, so they're pretty used to us, but it's been a bit of a kangaroo market, start to stop. It's mostly because they've been suppressing the price of Ethereum, which is suppressed most of DeFi because pretty much everyone uses Ethereum's essentially kind of like it's like if Bitcoin's our gold, Ethereum's kind of our silver. And what people stir some value there. And because I didn't go up as much, it didn't pull up, you know, it's kind of that rising tide lifts all boats sort of thing. Ethereum kind of underperforming kind of hurt the gains of all the true crypto people in a way. Because like I have Bitcoin, right? But you're not doing anything with it. I mean, besides the best thing on the planet, which is number go up, right? Besides that.
Yeah.
But for DeFi, right, you know, we need the, you know, the L1 narrative is real, you know, like we bought the bottoms, the all-time lows, but once we were out of 23, the markets like 24 was a very weird, like 23 acted exactly how I thought it was going to do, like to a point, like textbook, right? The bottoms in 22, you buy most of the coins you want to buy in the first quarter or first 4 months of 23, and then you're just DCAing. Middle of 23, you know, PulseChain launches. Big pump, big crash. Everything's on pace, and then 24. Dang.
Well, yeah, I don't think you know these markets. You know, we're in a really interesting time, right? You know,
Right.
I mean, I know you know about all the things, and so it's just we're, you know, with AI, with blockchain technology, we got to be coming to some point, right? There's going to be that. What is it, the singularity?
Well, I mean, it's coming, but it's basically from what I've been told, we don't have enough electricity and power yet. That's one of the reasons why, like, out of nowhere, you know, like, now we care about coal plants, clean coal, perfect coal, beautiful coal, clean coal, the cleanest of all coals.
Yeah.
You know, nuclear power. No, that's evil. But Google wants to make a reactor for the first time in 35 years. I think we're going to okay this. You know, I think we need make nuclear reactors great again, right? And this is happening across the world. You know, clean Germany is like making coal plants now because coal's good. Coal's not horrible anymore, you guys, right? It's because it's become a deadly priority to make sure your country has enough leftover electricity, not for Bitcoin mining, but to essentially power your AI machine in order to defend yourself and basically impose your will across the planet, basically. So, and that stuff's all coming. Like where it starts getting spooky, 2027 is when it starts. 2027, we'll start getting like crazy updates to because whatever we use, and that's one of the big things I've told my students and I've told my guys that I'm focusing on, especially once we enter the bear market in 26, is I'm going to like every AI conference that I can go to, just being a student of the game.
Yeah.
Of course, paying attention to the markets, but like I can go to conferences and kind of learn and I've listened to some really cool books on AI already, and I'm just trying to learn more of the tools, and because it could give me an edge to figure out how I may be able to invest in the bear market when we get this revolutionary change. Because I mean, I've been able to kind of like through power of meme coins figure out like really. I've been able to make some decent money off of investing into coins that have gotten really good at using AI for marketing. And that's made me a lot of money so far. and you still need to know it's kind of funny because it's memes, right? If it's like, oh, this is kind of, it makes me chuckle, you know, it might go right up and to the right. Yeah, but it gets spooky because in 27 the government's got that. Basically, it's a war right now between the United States and China to get enough chips right now, and then the power to actually run these chips. And you know, China's using shell companies to get the chips, and then we've got the chips already, but like we don't have the power. So it's a crazy sort of like whirlwind we're in right now. But it's kind of the thing is, like, as soon as it's probably going to be the United States that's going to hit it first, but China won't be far behind. And from there, where it gets kind of spooky is that, you know, we're using the run of the litter AI. So like ChatGPT, DeepSync, any of these other kind of like different variations of AI, we're using the kind of, we're using the side piece basically. It's basically like the generic like lamer stuff, which is still incredible, by the way. But because our devices can't, like, if you have an iPhone, right? Your iPhone, you know, your iPhone's not using that power. You know, your phone doesn't have the power to operate it like that. Now, you still could have like a centralized place where it's using the power and then letting you use a portion of it, of course. But in 27 and 28, especially in 28, the AI advances so much, even the scrub stuff they let us use becomes craziness. I mean, I'll tell you one thing I know for 100% fact that's going to happen next cycle is we're going to have blockchains filled up with fake users. Like, you know how when people have bots, trading bots? No, it's going to be fake Twitter people, fake Instagram people, fake Twitter, fake Instagram, fake Telegram people that are having conversations, and you think it's kind of real, and you might be real. And you're going to have them doing transactions on chain and stuff like that with wallets that they generate, you know, from a master wallet that hides it away, going through like their version of Tornado.cash to fund themselves and go this. That might be the only way we ought to figure it out, is like who the fake wallets are. And then you'll see transactions of people going back and forth, and they'll look kind of real. Dude, I just bought $500 worth. Dude, that's sick. Dude, wow. Dude, this coin's going crazy. Dude.
Right. It's nobody.
That's going to be a problem in 28.
Yeah. You know, you might be able to speak a little on this. You know, I heard the kind of the objective was to make everything so convoluted and where the people will be begging to get some kind of regulation as far as online. They're not going to know who's human and who's not, right? So it's like if your bank is telling you, oh, you know, you need to have your digital ID so that you can bank with us, so that we know you're real. Basically.
Right. Yeah, Mr. Angry Twinkie in the chat's right. 1 billion AI agents before 1 billion people on chain. That's absolutely correct.
Oh,
absolutely correct. Yeah. Well, you know, we'll get close. You know, it might be 800, but there'll be 1 billion, and but the scary part, it's going to be 1,000 people controlling 1 billion agents. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe best case scenario, it's 10,000 people controlling 1 billion agents, but it's going to be something like that, basically. Just like right now, the guys who are using the most advanced bots that they created themselves, it's going to be that sort of arms race. Like, and it's going to be spooky because so I have a thing called cycles theory, which is we're in 2 4-year cycles. So it's like we're in a large, like, so as an example, right? Like the 2017 cycle, the 21 cycle where it's its own 8-year cycle that are broken up into 2 4-year cycles. We're in the middle of a new one where, look, the NFTs are dead, right? NFTs got created in 17, were the craziest, coolest thing in 21. NFTs where? In this cycle, right? But it's AI. And now they've democratized meme coins. Meme coins always existed, but like they democratized meme coins where like you can have a pump.tires, you can have a pump.tires, you can have a pump.tires, right? Anyone can make a meme coin, and then the president of the United States legalize it. You know, can't even get in trouble for running her scam, right? And I mean, basically it's grift. You know, it's crime season. You know, and but it's important because now, like, you don't get in trouble for a meme coin. At least there's that. At least, you know, like there's a little protection there. But
protection or
well, it's raw dogging the market. The market's getting raw dog. You're raw dogging the market.
I don't know where the line is from protection. And
your video looks good, brother.
Video's back on.
Yep, looks good.
Oh dang, good. I called India and they helped me a little.
You called India. They're moving all the iPhone production to India now.
I unplugged the toaster and it.
Don't tell me you got one of those smart TV refrigerators, bro. I almost fell for that grift, dude. I almost did it. I decided not to.
I don't have a smart TV in my refrigerator, but I do have a refrigerator out by my smart TV.
Right. No, that's smart. Yeah. I gotta talk to you offline about some humidors, because I came home to my house in Vegas and my humidor broke somehow. And I ruined like.
Oh no, they're not ruined, dude. They're not ruined. You can bring them back. Yeah, you can bring them back. You just gotta.
I didn't throw them away yet, but I was.
No, you can bring them back. You can bring them back.
Okay. Because I had a few. I had a few of the Opus X's you showed me about. I bought a few, nothing crazy. I had some other fun stuff in there, and then I came back to tragedy.
Man, that I had the Destinino, which is another one of the Opus X line. It's their 100th anniversary A Fuente, and oh my gosh, that thing was delicious, man. But anyway, yeah, I'll help you fix that. They've got some great humidors out there right now that are pretty cheap, dude. They've done some really cool stuff.
Have you seen this Opus X one? Like, I just sent you a picture right now on your phone.
Is that the Forbidden X? Or...
I don't know. It's one of the largest ones. Literally, it's the size of my arm, damn near. And it's
the Lost City. You got the Lost City.
Yeah, the Lost City ones. It's freaking gigantic. Someone's got a box there they're willing to sell me. I was like, ooh.
So Lost City is not a real Opus X.
Okay, that's why I came here to the fucking man, the source.
But no, they made that one special. And they used a different company to make that one special for that movie, The Lost City.
Oh, okay.
But it's really, yeah, and they're a little better priced. I mean, they're not a bad stick, don't get me wrong, but yeah, better not talk cigars here. People are going to get pissed off. But back to regulation and whatnot. It's a slippery slope, this deregulation and regulation and allowing grifters to get away with stuff, and then allowing us to not be stifled and to be able to innovate and bring good crypto products and good DeFi, to the world. Unfortunately, this world, and we've always had these conversations, you and I, young buck, old buck, talks about not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Right. And I know that this space is filled with a lot of libertarian minded folk, but the total destruction of your government, the total anarchy thought that things will be great if we had that, is a pipe dream. It's just like saying, hey, well, if we had no crypto regulation, there won't be no more scammers. We'll just have a utopia. Bullshit. There's going to be more scammers than ever. Instead of 99% scams, we'll have 99.9999999 scams. And it's a slippery slope, when you get into regulation, because you could be regulated out of existence as soon as regulators come in. But what has not regulating us done? Not regulating us hasn't helped either. It's put us all in front of the judges. I mean, and man, I am so glad to not be under the boot of the SEC anymore. Because everybody sees that, Richard was fighting this, but motherfucker, I got subpoenaed 5 times during this whole thing.
Right.
I was in the middle of it. And I was, also being, hit by the SEC and other 3-letter agencies all during this time. And it's no fun. It is no fucking fun. And it costs money too.
Our community got hit, I would say, the hardest out of any other community that I can even think of. Usually if a coin gets in trouble, it's like the founder and maybe a few team members. That's all it is. But this was a concentrated attack on a decentralized thing, basically, and
That
then
makes me more bullish.
a community supported thing. It was great. It was absolutely crazy, and us defeating them is, I mean, it's such a victory, and it's kind of like, you know, I hate to say it, like
reported has absolute, you know, and us Hexicans, of course, you know, we see something, we're like, oh, you guys aren't saying it the right way, but I don't want to take anything away from our argument. Our argument is that, you know, as soon as the news broke, it was Richard Hart says, and this guy, the Wolf of Wall Streets, right? He comes out and he says, well, Richard Hart says that he defeated the SEC. No, Richard Hart didn't say. The fucking judge said. The judge said that Richard Hart beat the SEC. SEC, do you want to rewrite your complaint because your complaint was shit? Why don't you guys go ahead and do that? You have the ability to do so. You have this much time to do so. And they said, no, we don't want to. And it was because even when they were, and I was in the courthouse, and when they were in the courthouse, they were trying to rewrite it at that point. And as they were rewriting it, the judge was like, dude, I mean, the lawyers and the judge said, guys, you can't rewrite the complaint here in the middle of the hearing. Right. You know, what are you doing? And if you want to go back, and I can send you guys back and you guys can rewrite it, you know. And even at that point, they were like, you know, and backpedaling, and they had their backs up against the wall, and they got destroyed. And there was no case, and they did a shit job of it. And it was because we had, you know, people trying to capitalize on whatever bounties that they had out there for scams. You know, sent this to the SEC with garbage complaint, with a horrible timeline. I have the official timeline sitting over here on the wall that was given to me by the lawyers, and none of it fit, none of it worked. That their complaint was, you know, Richard stole money, you know, in the future that he spent in the past, and it's like, you guys, you're making no sense, you know. And so it was a horribly written complaint and accusations. And he was vindicated by the judge, and the SEC said, yeah, we got no case. We got no case. And it wasn't because they didn't drop it because of political heat. They didn't drop it because, you know, you know, they were just dropping everything. They dropped it because they didn't have a case. And I think that the whole crypto community needs to address that, because every single article I've read, and there's been some big, you know, all of the big names have and even some mainstream news has reported on this. Yeah. And it's the exact same message. Richard Hart says, and the SEC, you know, dropped the case like they've dropped other cases. And that is not the case. Richard Hart actually won. HEX, PulseChain, and PulseX actually won. And were given a stamp of approval as not being securities. That is huge. That's
it's huge. There's like less than 5 coins that even have that privilege right now. Yeah. It's just right. Bitcoin, Ethereum, with Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and like
I don't think Ethereum even really has it, to be honest. I think Ethereum has that argument from what you call it, that puts them in this gray area. That's
right. So you mean absolute
still up for interpretation? Like it could still be. Yeah. But I mean, you know, it was a win. It was weight off of my shoulders, meaning that I don't have to deal with it anymore, because that's just not fun. You know, freaking Jack Doug shows up at my house 2 days before Christmas to hand me, you know, the last set of subpoena papers I got. You know, my kids are all here and everybody, and some dude hands me papers, you know, and it's like,
yeah, sorry you had to deal with that, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, bro. You know, and I mean, it wasn't his fault, but you know, getting that, you know, 2 days before Christmas, you got your family in the house and everything. It's like, you know, and they're like, oh, another one, huh?
it's making me think about that movie with the Griswolds, you know, where they're like all there at Christmas, all standing there together, you know.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's like getting frog marched out of your house, you know, on Christmas Eve with, you know, it'd be like, you know, anyway. But I'm glad it's over. It's a weight off of my shoulders. I'm sure it's a weight off of Richard's shoulders. He must be feeling really proud and really victorious right now.
Totally.
I'm happy to be part of it, though, you know, because we were in the fight. We were in the fight the whole time and stood there with them. and went and supported him even when he couldn't come out. I think that was a Hexican showing love, man, and being part of it and being there to represent. Filling up that courthouse with Hexicans and filling up the satellite room that they had there for us. That was huge, man. That was really huge in support of all that. No other communities doing stuff like that.
No,
it's huge. You know what this does too? This silences the haters. All these years, the people that are saying it's a scam or want to go into some legality thing about security. No, it's proven now. It's official. Hex, PulseX, no scam, no security. And if anybody says that to you, they're lying.
Mm-hmm. They're lying. And we got the legal paperwork to show it.
Exactly.
So it's
amazing.
Yeah. But I'm also a little disappointed in the community. There's been a little I don't know, I gotta say this, pardon my French right here, but a little too much kind of crybabying about we're gonna lose support from certain people if we're being mean to them, or we're saying, which I didn't really see anyone being mean to anybody, but tough titty, who cares? Who cares? I mean, who cares? It's like this whole thing. We have to apologize. We have to apologize to certain influencers weren't even supporting us at all. They stopped reporting on us completely, and then now there's news. They're you know what? They're at the end of the day, they're like TMZ. If there's some big news, they're going to talk about it no matter what.
Yeah.
And if it's big, they're going to talk about it, right? But this whole thing of just no, we can't we shouldn't say something negative. We're going to lose support. They're not supporting us.
Yeah.
We're one of the supporting. I mean, Crypto Rant sometimes shows us on Bubbles. I know Ivan does support us. There's people we know who supports us, right? But there's a couple of crypto influencers on Twitter that dog, let's stop. Let's just stop the lies here and stuff they only support us when it's to their benefit, so they get likes, so they make money.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I see, I know that they all make money off of their their sponsors and whatnot,
right?
And that's part of the game. Contracts are contracts, the game's the game. We know when Ben was trying to lean in that, and whatever we want to think about Ben, hope you're well, Ben. His team did not like Richard, and they didn't let him say a lot of things. I had conversations with them and talked to him about it. I mean, for what it's worth. But the just staying away from Richard was what they had to do, and so I don't blame them for that. But exposing it is okay by me. Now I lumped one of my friends into a tweet the other day, and that's Crypto Win. I know a lot of people in this community don't like her, but I know her. She's my friend, and she's good people, and she does her thing out there, and she's done a decent job, and she has interviewed. She's come on this show. She's interviewed Richard. She's done her part. And I don't know her situation or what, how her show is sponsored or who she's sponsored by. But she's always been honest with me. She's talked to me and, behind the scenes about, her feelings about things, and that she's, and she gets attacked and she doesn't like it. And she just says, whatever, screw you guys. And I get it. People, when they try and then they get hit, by this community as hard as they get hit. I mean, when you release the dogs of war, you got to, understand what's going to happen. Right. And that's what we have here. We have seasoned people who have been gatekept for 5 fucking years, and they got a hold of the best crypto on the planet. They have the smartest guy in crypto has built something that they're out there trying to promote, and nobody's giving them the time of day. And, when finally something good happens, something that's real news, we see real news out there all the time with bullshit. We've seen them, oh, look how awesome this guy is. And then he ends up in an orange jumpsuit, and then it's brushed under the rug. Richard's never been in a jumpsuit. Richard's been attacked by everybody on the planet, but they still never really look at the tech and, what's going on here. What has Richard really built? And hey, he's been gone for what, 2.5 years, and still they don't have anything good to say about, Pulse or Hex or anything. And it's, it's our same old argument. It's our lot in life. It's what we've got to deal with.
It's our lot in life.
And it's, and I don't mind. It's just making us stronger. But we do have to ease on the vitriol when it, because the bottom line is we got some crazy motherfuckers in here that will ease and do some stupid shit. And we just need to have discourse, and we can agree to disagree with people, and we could be strong in our opinion. Don't straight mistake my kindness for weakness. But that's how we've got to be. We've got to be stoic about it. We've got to be kind. We've got to be smart. We've got to be continuing to just get the message out, and eventually we will be on the right side of history. Like now, when everything was dead, remember, it was like, oh, Richard's in trouble. He's done. He's a scam. It was so easy for them to call him a scammer when the SEC had a case against him, and now that it's over, they're not, coming to his rescue and saying, hey, you know what? We were wrong. This guy really is a good dude, and he really has built something awesome. They're not doing that. And a lot of them only
called him a scammer just because, they think, it is a little bit dog eat dog, a little bit, right? It is competition, but they're trying to discredit Richard so they can pump up their thing, basically, because it's like, damn, if we only could get these people from Hex to stop believing in that, then they could just follow me and buy the stuff that I like. This is
true. 43 says we have an army of trolls with PTSD ready to deploy on command. Dude, we don't have an army of trolls, man. We have freaking troll team 6 out there. They will come out there and freaking eat your lunch. They are trolls. There is no better trolls than the Hexican community. That is for damn sure. That's right. We've got whole communities that are just basically trolls within this, community.
The new onboards, for the past, well, I guess, 4 years, all these videos that they see of Richard, a lot of these are these extreme marketing videos, and it's hard for them to see past a man who was being gatekept, and being called a scammer and a liar and all these things, which he wasn't, right? And so he was doing these extreme things to get through. I don't know if it was necessarily the best way to do it, but I do tell people if they can watch 40 hours of Richard, they can see his heart and see his intentions. But if you just watch for 10 minutes and just get the, outside layer, you're not going to get to really see what's going on.
Yeah, I think they need to go and watch the first 20, 30 streams that he did and really get a good idea of who he is. Even the ones that he did here on Discord Syndicate. I think that those are the streams that we should start chopping those up and putting them out there, because, he would come on this show and, in appreciation for all of us, and, tell us how appreciative he was and have conversations. And he let us, question him about things. I know that DCC had a pretty harsh interview with him one time and said, hey, man, I want to know this, want to know that, want to know this. And it wasn't a comfortable interview for Richard. And, we didn't just kowtow to everything that he said or did. It was, he's been called out by the community on things, and, but he's always answered, and he always showed his true colors to us and who he was. And that's why we all did what we did. We just knew that he had our best intentions and the community's best intentions, and with the products that he built in mind and in heart, when he built them and put them out there. And it may not have gone the way everybody has wanted it to go. Especially, the sack coming at the top of the bull and then dropping into the one of the biggest, deepest bear markets that we've seen. that didn't help. But what could he have done about that? There isn't anything that he could have done about that.
Well, no, he did. You just said it. The sack at the top of the bull. Richard has blazed a path that if you were able to follow it, you were able to make money.
Yeah.
But not everybody made the right choices, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Some people did, some didn't.
Yeah.
And, we are here today, but like I said, if you followed it right, then he blazed the path for you to make money. Because what does he say? Fix the money, fix the world, right? I'm going to make like-minded people rich so that we can actually make an influence in the world with money.
Yep. And you never know what's going on behind the scenes. And that's another thing I warn the community about, is that you never know what somebody's going through or why things are happening the way that they're happening. And I know this is a very heated subject. My friend Rackham was, he went online the other day and finally said what I could never say, was that, when they sacked, when his company and himself sacked, there was investors that dipped out of the sack and sold, and some of his wallets sold. And I knew why and understood it and was sworn to secrecy. But he announced it the other day. The man was going through a divorce and his wife dumped half the bags. When you get a divorce, guys, just to let all you know, your wife gets half your shit. And if it's in crypto, she sells it and she takes the money and runs. And
don't get married, kids.
And that's what happened. And he finally announced it, so I can say it here now. And people gave him a lot of trash about that, and he's always been a benevolent whale. And he's not an easy person to get along with sometimes. I mean, he could be rough and gruff and say some shit to you that really would make you think. But man went through it. He went through a really rough time in his life there. And could you imagine, having all of that and then losing half of it, and then also being, chastised by the people that you were actually supporting by buying so much of the cryptos and supporting the system and being a good whale, but then having to give it up and not being able to talk about it because there were legal reasons and things. And, that's,
yeah.
And I knew that. I knew what was going on. So that's why I always supported him and told everybody to shut the fuck up, because you don't know. You don't ever know what somebody else is going through. You don't know what's going on in somebody's back room, bedroom, living room, house, office. You don't fucking know. And you should probably, wait and see how things turn out. Now, if it's affecting you directly or something, you have the right to question it in private, but taking things out in public and airing other people's dirty laundry out in public and trying to figure out, what's going on and doing chain analysis, which shame on all of you for fucking doing that to whales and everybody else, yeah, go ahead and watch it and make your decisions based on what you're seeing out there. But going out and trying to witch hunt people or pitchfork people for doing what every single fucking one of you want to do, which is sell your goddamn crypto one day, is the most hypocritical thing, the most baby ass, bitch ass thing that I've ever seen out here, is people crying about other people's wallets. And you are all in this so that you can sell one day. And just because you haven't sold doesn't mean that the people that are selling are any worse or any better than you. They're doing what they have to do, because you're going to do what you have to do one day. You're going to buy a house. You're going to buy a fucking Lambo. You're going to pay, for a trip around the world. You're going to do something with your crypto one day, is what you're hoping to do. So don't throw stones and you live in a glass house.
Yeah, you remind me of something called giving someone the benefit of the doubt.
It's the way you should live. And because what you do when you do that is you extend trust to other people, and then trust is reciprocated back to you at that point. Now, fuck me once, shame on you. Fuck me twice, shame on me. Now, there's another piece of that, though. If you make up for that second time, if you come back and try and regain trust, now it's hard to do that. And but it can be done and it should be offered. And if somebody makes a mistake twice and then they do try and make up for it, then I think that, if you read a book called The Speed of Trust, it tells you, how to regain trust and whatnot. And it's an equation basically that you have to live by. And the world would be a better place if we all extended a little more trust to one another. And I know it's hard in this space. That's for damn sure, because we got 99% of it is scams. And that's why I don't blame anybody for being so upset about these things. But yeah, I've trusted a lot of folks and I've lost a lot of money. I've lost a lot of money in this space. I've been hacked. I've been scammed. I've been, you name it. I've been aided, every kind of aided you can imagine. But I survived and kept moving and kept doing things and said, oh, well, move on and go here then. But you always got to mitigate your risk and what you can and can't do. And, make sure that you don't end up on the wrong side of the law. And, that's been the biggest thing is trying to make sure that, you avoid all the pitfalls with all the scams and stuff that are out there. Like that Haktua girl, she got lucky. She got really lucky.
She got
that never made sense to me. Everything I ever knew about hawking something isn't something I'd want on my genital. I never heard anybody say, they're just like, I'm like, please, if you're going to hawk it, do not hawk it this way. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody ever said that. I haven't heard anybody talk about that.
That's why I went viral, man. I mean, these women are barely doing anything at all. Let's just be honest, man.
They're giving it to you dry.
I don't know. The great, what's her name? Like, man, I shouldn't say her name. No.
This red pillar was coming out. I was waiting for it.
Well, bro, my eyes are glassing over as I listen to this conversation. I was like, oh my God. But I'm just like I'm in a straight jacket listening to you right now. But I'm just telling guys, if it isn't in the real world, don't fall prey to it. That's all I'm saying. Treat everyone with respect and you'll get respect back. But you have to know that there is a lot of people of the opposite sex, guys and girls, that only want two things from you: your money and your body. A lot of times they just want your money. That's it. So be aware of that. And I know we're all grown-ups here and we all should know that, but like we forget, of course, because I'm special.
Well, I think that one thing that is missed in that, and I mean, I don't want to get into it too deep, is that
right. We don't want to we don't have to get crazy.
Marriage is a contract. It is literally a contract. It has nothing to do with, some kind of union of this or that or the other. I mean, you can go and spend your life with somebody and not get married. Marriage is a contract, and by default, some states actually, as time actually can induces a contract. You're with somebody for 10 years or something like that. It turns into common law or whatever it is in some states. But yeah, it's just a contract saying that now you guys own half of everything together, unless you come up with the legal paperwork beforehand to make sure that that's not how it goes. But anyway,
in this modern age, guys, you don't have to get married. You don't have to do it. And if you do it, get yourself a really good, just get yourself especially because you guys are all investors here, get a prenup and maybe just stating that like whatever assets you from the marriage onwards, okay, but previous stuff or maybe a family house, because that's really where the fight started. It's really not like sure the portfolio a little bit, but it's like where you have to sell your grandma's house that was passed to you. Like that one, oh my God, that's the knife.
And that's where trusts come in. You get trust set up and I suggest that even all you single people out there set up trust, put a trust together, put your property, your house, everything, your family's properties, anything that you have trusted to you, set up a trust. And that means basically the trust owns it, not you. And people can't take it, and like I said, a marriage is a contract. And if they want to renegotiate your trusts and everything into the contract, then you might want to think about all that before you get married to somebody. But I would suggest everybody, put some trust together and get their affairs in order, because people end up doing it too late in life. A will isn't shit. It has some bearing, but it doesn't really mean shit. You need to build a trust, put trust together.
It can get contested. It can get, because especially if you're sick when it happens, they could say you weren't in the right mental, you weren't in the right mental place. Especially, there's also things too where like people don't update their wills as well. They could have been married to a previous spouse, never got it updated, and then stuff gets passed to people that you are not close to anymore, and that happens a lot. And then so you have a whole new family, and then all your shit goes to somebody other, to some previous family, which that's not cool.
And that's where probate comes in. And if people don't understand what probate's when there is nothing, there is no trust, there is no will, there's nothing, you're just dead, and there's assets. Then the probate court goes in and goes, okay, well, we'll sort this out, and we'll look at all the relatives, where everybody is, and then they'll divide it up themselves. And take a piece of it for the probate courts and everything, and then give the rest of the family your assets. So we got to make the money first, you guys. We got to make the money first. We got to do good decisions. You got to DCA, ladies and gentlemen. And don't think that your crypto's safe either.
Right.
That's one thing I think that everybody here needs to understand, that your crypto is not safe. Your crypto is, I think that unconfiscatable narrative needs to really go away.
It's a lie. It's a lie.
It's a lie. Why does the government have so much Bitcoin if it's unconfiscatable? They didn't buy it.
We're all LARPing. I mean, we're all LARPing to some extent. I guess if there is a way, if you could, you can memorize your seed phrases so it's only in your brain. But God help you if you forget. God help you.
You said, guys, I just want to tell all the crypto ladies out there too that are here in the chat room. Same with you. Go out and protect yourself against all the plebs out there that are going to come after your crypto and protect it.
Do you know how many chicks I know with loser relationships? I can name. I'm not going to. I can name 5 people that I know decently well enough that like they need to ditch their dude today. Of all, and I'm talking ages 20 to 50 right now.
There you go.
50.
If your gal's still with you at the bottom of the bear, y'all should be good to go later on.
Yeah. That's true.
You looked at your
we're swimming. We're doing real well.
If she sees your deflated bags and still gives you the Tua, then you're good.
Here we go. But it's true. That's why, like, it's true. You want to pick up your significant other when it's kind of ground up. It's like every guy that I know that gets a bunch of money, their hardest trouble is finding a trustworthy significant other, or they just may not have any, like they never have any experience.
They got a name now. Bare bottom girls.
Bare bottom girls in the girl. Oh, that's
all right, Hex Mofo. You coined that one, buddy. You coined that one.
Bare bottom girl.
You a bare bottom girl.
Yeah, I think someone in the chat was asking. I want to go there so bad, but maintaining famous for the street. Yeah. So there's a different conversation in a different chat. I just looked in there. They're talking about passport broing and shit. Which is
Europe.
Yeah, well, people either go to Eastern Europe, or they go and honestly, it's just basically it's like, how do I, like, you essentially get a power boost to how cool you are when you're not around the same place you've always been. It's like you move to a new city, you're mysterious, right? Or you're like you're the fucking brash American. You go to Europe, you do a lot better because you're an American in Europe versus you're a European in European, or a Frenchman and Frenchman, right? Then there's other levels where, like, people are going to like Thailand or Japan or South Korea, and all these other places and stuff. And well, I guess not really Japan and Korea. I mean, you have to have you can't be like bottom barrel and stuff, but still, like, go do it if you're single. It's an experience. Every person I know that's gone over there has like become more mature and kind of learned how to like survive a little bit, because like there's a ton of guys that are like they stay stuck at like their mom's house, and like squandered years away. I'm not saying doing it when you're 21, because you're not there. But like, once you save up some cheddar, and if you want to do it for a little bit, you should go do it. I think it'll not just hair on your chest, but it might make you kind of grow up a little bit and kind of figure out what you want to do with your life, And no matter whoever tells you, everyone parties at somewhere. They partied crazy at 15, or they partied crazy at 25, or they're still partying right now.
Everybody I think remembers that new kid that came to school, and then all the girls were all on that dude.
Yeah. I think girls have it the worst, though. If I'm being in school, when a new girl would come to town, god damn, dude, that girl was like, the girls hated her, man. Oh my god. Oh, look at Miss Becky. Look at Miss Becky over here.
Yeah, it is worse for them for sure.
That's the one criticism I have about women, is that when it comes to other women, they are the worst, man.
Yeah, you saw Tam Tam. She apologized.
I saw it.
To Wendy.
I saw it when I've got a daughter, and when they were little girls and growing up and playing and doing all their little things and stuff, and whenever 3 of them got together, 2 of them made one of them cry. 2 of them ganged up on the other one. Every single time I put 3 of them together, 2 of them ganged up on one of them. It would be a different girl this time or that time or whatever. Now I put 3 boys in the room, and they sit there and freaking wrestle and do all their shit and play video games and do all that stuff, and get mad at each other and fight, and then they're playing, doing this thing, and then they'll get mad at each other, fight, and do this thing. And I didn't really have those kind of problems with the boys, but the little girls, man, for some reason, boy, 2 of them, one of them would be crying. I'd be like, why is she crying? And the other 2 are like, no, I don't know.
You can't stay with us.
Sometimes 3's a crowd.
Yeah. Here's something good to talk about, so we can get back into crypto.
We're still talking about crypto, man. We're talking about the family jewels right now. Oh, okay. What are the odds of Kraken listing us, even if Rackham is willing to pay the fee? LOL. What are the percentage odds that we should have this up on Polymarket? Oh, that'd be funny, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not 0. I mean, sure, it's a bot for the most part, but like, I mean, they've been viewing it. We've been someone's reporting up to the top a little bit, reporting up like, hey, this community's like starving for it. And it looks like there's a lot of people here. It's not 0. It's not 0.
I've always
0%.
had feelings about, the centralized exchanges. I've always just rated on as 6 on one hand, half a dozen on the other. I'd rather see us put better DeFi products together, better on-ramping systems together. Get rid of I know the centralized exchange route is the easy way to get, the crypto ecosystem itself into HEX, and, bring those retailers that come in and start buying the bull market up, which, it's a good thing to have that during the bull market, because number will go up because of that, because of the exposure. But then there's my purist side of me that says, hey, we can do this without centralization of any of this shit. Like this, I think centralization should just completely go away. And now that we have things like OX Coast, things like Old Glory Bank that lean into that and allow us to onboard and not have to use things like Coinbase and Gemini and Kraken and all that stuff. I think that we're on the right track, and there's more stuff coming, Freedom, my freedom. How you doing? Good to see you. Hey guys, bull market's in, freedom's back.
Oh, here we
go. Thoughts on the goalpost news today? What was that?
Oh,
I should.
they're going to launch a coin on May 1st.
Oh,
That's going to do well.
Yeah, it's interesting. Go check it out. They got all the information there for you on their site, right up at the top.
wow. Okay. Well, we'll have to check that out. Maybe they'll come on the show and we'll talk about it.
I'll give them a fair shot. I mean, I'm going to look into it myself as well. But GoPulse. I mean, that's a great website. People use it. It does. They do generate fees. But there's nothing wrong with running a business, right? If you provide a good service, right? Nothing's wrong with that. So I'm gonna give them a fair shot. We're gonna see what's up.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
As we always do, extend that trust out there, and and I don't want to say it and give them enough rope to go out. Let's let them go out and prove themselves.
Right.
And anybody who apes in thinking that they're going to go, get their Lambo out of that, that's on you. That's on you.
Right.
But watching and supporting, understanding what it is they're doing, and being part of it, and watching it, as a tool, as part of the community, that's the responsible thing to do. And anybody who does anything else, it's don't complain if something happens, something breaks, something goes wrong. Don't complain.
Yep.
Let's see. What's the success rate with sacrifices and token launches? Oh, geez. Sacrifices and token launches. Ugh.
Time to launch a meme, guys. It's time.
It's not looking good.
Fair launches. I'm a true believer in fair launches. I don't think that there's anything wrong with, sacrifices. I think that there's better ways to do them. I haven't really weighed out all the nuances on, whether a chain should be fair launched or sacrificed or whatever. But there's ways to make tokens not rugged. There's ways to make things happen without, hurting people. And the problem is that most founders, whales, developers don't do that.
Right. Can I give you my couple 2 cents on Saks a little bit?
Yeah.
All right. So when the tide goes out, you see who's running naked, but at the same time too, when the tide runs out, you can't run that big of an operation, because our L1 token pretty much just went down only, right, for this past 2 years. Sure, a little pump here and there, and that's kind of helped us sustain a little bit, but it's only gone down. There's a case to be said that launching stuff now is probably smart, because the L1 will go up, and that'll help your token essentially survive, basically, because you're in a more positive market. We've had a pretty rough launch, right? We had a great launch, actually. The only thing I've been mad about ever is the Explorer. The Explorer, that is pretty dog shit. But besides that, everything works. I can teach it. I've taught it to thousands of students already. People know how to bridge in. They know how it works. It flawlessly works. It does work. But if the L1 tokens like this, it hurts the demand for whatever you have, whether it's a meme coin, an exchange, NFT platform, a stable coin, or a stable coin that's going to peg, or a stable coin that you can create on chain. It just hurts everything. So it's kind of a bad business. It was a bad business environment, basically, for a while, right? I think that turns around now, basically. I really do. Most people, up to a couple days ago, everyone thought the bull market was over. Now we're at $92,000 on Bitcoin. And Miguel, Lodi Lord, I was so wrong. You were so right. It's just they haven't been on the rodeo for that long.
Yeah.
It's to be expected, but it's just the sort of thing where I think when things turn around, it basically makes it easier. Now, obviously, I can chastise most of the sacrifices in PulseChain outside of the Richard ones for basically, I think they didn't handle funds very well, and they're a little lazy. If I'm being honest, It's not difficult. It's not difficult to put into work for about a week or two or a month. It's the time afterward. It's like that's actually the main thing why, like, I've had tons of people come up to me because I like, you know, I have projects or teams or influencers that come up to me that ask me, hey, for my advice when I'm launching a token. Well, if you're going to do it, do these things. And but the thing that gets them, that hurts them the most is like, you know, you have to keep supporting it for years, right? Yeah. Like, I think that's the big click. That's the big, it's like, you know, this is work, right? You do know that, right? Like, you're not, you like, it's attached to you and your reputation, right? Like,
Yep.
you know, you're gonna have to keep going with it.
Really? The problem is that when you do launch your own token and there are mechanics involved, usually those mechanics involve rewards for the token holders, stakers, whatever it is, buy and burners, whatever. There's rewards, and those reward tokens grow. And as those reward tokens grow through people not participating monetarily, that are extracting more inflation out of the system. Those early investors, those whale investors, feel they deserve to make their money. So whatever money ends up in there, and usually it's at first it's the founder that is kind of clueless as to what is actually happening into their system. They got the most liquidity in there at the beginning and all that. It gets pulled out, and it doesn't get rugged or dumped on. The people that invested early think that they deserve it. You know, they're like, hey, I got in early. I got my gains, and I made my inflation off of this, or my staking rewards, or my whatever off of this, or this other token, or whatever. I deserve to sell it, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just it creates what we have, and especially in a bear market, there's no more value to come back in. It's run its cycle, and now it's on to the next thing, and that's been the problem. And people haven't realized that it's all about those extra tokens coming into the system that is extracting all that value, and the people that have gotten in first that extract all that value.
And marketing.
It's just an elaborate Ponzi scheme is what it is. And the crypto bros play that all during the bear market with themselves. And that's the problem. It's just a circular loop of each other stealing out of each other's back pocket. And you can go out there and I've done it. You can create a token and put value on it and put the supply out there and not touch it. And it'll never go under the price that you've set it at. It'll never rug. It'll never go down. It'll always be worth what somebody puts in it, as long as you don't touch it, and as long as you don't have new token supply coming in. And even if a whale comes in and wants to buy some, you can actually mitigate that too. But most people don't do that. They build these elaborate systems and buy and burns and everything else. And it took me a long time to understand and learn what was going on here. But I got it now. These things don't really work that well unless you've got lots of people coming in and using the product. And there's so many of these things now that just pick one, pick one, pick what ARB system you want, what buy and burn system you want, what staking system do you want? They're all out there. Everybody's got one now, right? I mean, it's, I think Richard's done a really good job of, developing the tokens and setting up the liquidity and mitigating that, through the OA and what he's done, and to keep the system where it's at. I mean, bear markets are bear markets,
Yeah. And I wasn't chastising Richard per se or anything. I'm
not even chastising you for what you said. I'm just saying that this is something that people don't understand, is that all these things have been done over and over and over and over and over again. And it's like, when are we going to learn?
I mean, it's just not. I mean, we're always going to want the shiny thing to try to make some extra coin, right? That's what it always is. I mean, like, the first invention, like literally the altcoins were invented back in the day, and it's basically, yeah, you gamble your Bitcoin in order to try to make more Bitcoin. That literally was the like, let me put money in dark coin, and world coin, and red coin, and color coin, and tree coin. I think some of you guys probably remember Denta coin, the coin that all dentists are going to use, right? Oh, that one was pretty nice, right? You'll see it in dentist office across America, Captain. It's going to be used everywhere.
Coins for real estate, right?
Oh, those one day will come, but like I've explained it to my students is like, in order for them to actually really work, you have it's kind of like a semi. It's kind of all right. So it's sort of like what Grant Cardone's kind of done a little bit, except tokenized, where like you have management taking a cut, and you have the guys picking the deals taking a cut, and it's kind of interesting. So like
they just use crypto is all.
You use crypto. It has to be centralized because we're dealing with an extremely centralized object. So it's like, you know, if we all buy like the first thing, and they have $100 million in order to buy real estate, they go buy an $80 million property with a certain amount of doors on it to give it a certain amount of value. They have to pay people to make sure it's at least 80 to 90%, you know, occupied. Then from there, right, they have to leave 20 million to 10 million in the savings account to make sure they have money for repairs, insurance, and just in case money. And then maybe in the future acquisition of another property. And then, so like that 100 million might only be paying 2.5-3% yield. But it's interesting because over time, I think it will go towards that, because it'll eventually get very good where like, the one interesting thing that like I have a couple buddies of mine that are in like the Grant Cardone side and kind of that syndication side with real estate, you know, like on $1 million, you might, you know, on $1 million, you're probably going to get like, it's nothing crazy, but like like $50,000, right, a year, but tax free, which is pretty nice, you know. So, you know, you might be earning on 2-3 million. It's pretty decent. And, you know, they have depreciation on the properties. And then, so you all the income you generate for it is like tax free, which is cool.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem with that. There's 1,000 companies out there doing that exact same thing in the real world. And it works better because you don't have crypto in it. The only thing, right. That's what Robert Kiyosaki and his partner Ken McElroy do, and they built.
Of course. I can see a way to do it, but I feel they're not going to do it the way I would think they're going to do it. Right? Well, it's just that's the problem.
It's the exact same thing. They're using depreciation. They're using syndication money to come in and buy these properties and hand out their shareholders their money, and they're just using crypto to do it. It's the same thing. There's nothing new under the sun when it comes to that. Now the problem with real estate is that, you know, they want to put everything on the blockchain and all this stuff, and yada yada. I get that, but here's the problem: you are never, ever going to be able to move the trust or the grant deed system into the blockchain. It's like, go try and find a deed to your house. It's insanely impossible to actually get the deed to your house, or to find out who owns it, or what system is monitoring it, or, you know, there's all these different weird, each state in this country has a different grant deed office and deed office and all that shit. It's just so hard to try and mitigate the data set to fit into the blockchain. I just don't think anyone will ever be able to pull that off, because they would have already done it already. It's just, I've talked to people who've tried to do stuff like that, and it's just like, it's a nightmare. They can't even get one state to try and put it on the blockchain as far as the deeds and ownership goes.
Oh no, I know. It's just, and there's also two laws with like if you want to read like in a stock. This is the problem, is that the reason you want to do it in person is because you get those tax benefits, right? That's why. But they don't pass those tax benefits to people. Like if you want to REIT, you don't really get the depreciation. You get charged dividend income tax. That's kind of the problem with REIT. You still get maybe the price appreciation of the stock, and then you get to sell later, and then you get the dividend.
You want to take a loan out on the property so that the money. Robert Kiyosaki is a multimillionaire, and he lives off of borrowed money.
Yeah,
like he does not make any income. All of his money is borrowed from the properties that he owns. Yeah. And why does he do that? Because it's tax free when he borrows the money. It's not income. He owns nothing. It's like, no, I'm leveraged. I'm loaned out to the hilt. I got it all in the bank. I got all the money I need.
I think he's somewhere between $1 to $2 billion in debt.
Yeah.
Shout out to my boy Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki is a good man. He's a cool dude. I learned a lot from him.
Yeah, I've been to some. He's a crazy dude. He was a Marine, so I got to speak on his stage one time, and got to meet him after at a party. I met him a couple of times, but me and Ken became pretty good friends. Ken McElroy, his partner. And that guy's been like a mentor to me. Really like Ken McElroy. He's a good dude. And he's like the brains and the action behind Robert. Robert's, brought a lot of the capital and the know-how and all that stuff. But Ken's really the workhorse out there. And he's a good dude, man. But that's how they do it. They live off of borrowed money that they use in these syndication deals to get, and they buy big properties. Like they buy condos.
They buy huge things. Yeah,
500.
Though, you got to know how to do it, right? And that's part of the problem is, some of these secrets, But hey, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, no problem, man.
Thanks for coming. Now I think I've got you in my ADHD brain. Remembered?
Yeah, we met a few times, a few different places.
Yeah,
Vegas a couple times, here in Texas and stuff. So yeah,
Texas. Oh man.
Yeah,
right.
Yep.
All right, my brother. Well, thanks for coming and hanging out with us. Yeah, and your voice is like butter, man. I gotta fix my mic. I gotta get that. Well, I'll never have that.
And you just gotta talk into it a little bit. You gotta get closer. It'll make it sound better.
Answer, yeah.
But yeah, y'all have a good night.
Yeah. All right, take care, bro. Good seeing you and your chest.
we gotta keep the vibes going,
Yeah. Right on, man.
All right, ciao.
But but in the future, it's going to be pretty cool because then you'll be able to you could take profits and just buy fractional parts of it's going to be basically the money would just get deposited into USDC into your fucking wallet, which is really cool and stuff. I think we're just recreating. I mean, whatever is in crypto, whatever is in stocks, we're just recreating with crypto. Hopefully, we get a couple of extra better regulatory things, and it's a little easier to move around, which is nice. And that's why it's so important to have certain laws. A token, if you own this token, if you own this RWA token for real estate, you actually do own a fractional piece of that piece of land. But you're giving up rights because you have to give up rights in order for someone to manage it, in order for them to run it. So you don't do anything because you're not going to do jack shit. You're not going to do nothing. You have to pay people to do it. So it's always going to be more profitable if you do it yourself, or all you guys need to especially if I just wasn't making no money before 25, man. I just was not. Well,
those aren't your money making years. Your money making.
I know they're not. I know they're not. But you just God damn it. I really wish. But also it was a rough time too. My industry over here. It was just it was coming out of 2008, 9. It's during the housing crash. The landscape, electrician, construction. Dog, we were, flushed, so it was rough. It was rough for a while. It took me from 2009 to I started finally scraping some money in 2011, and it really was.
What were you? Don't dox yourself as far as your age goes if you want to, but what age were you at that point in trying to get into the business? And 8.
I was 18, so I worked for my father basically for free for about a year.
Some of that.
Yeah, literally for free. They you don't want to go to college for a year. Okay. They worked my ass to the bone. Literally I was 4 months in. It's hey, Dad, can I have some money to go to the movies, take a girl out? He's yeah, all right, yeah, for sure. Here you go. Yeah, working my ass 8 to 10 hours in the sun. I was, oh my God, I was a mule working me like a donkey, man. But then they started paying me $5 an hour, and then eventually I was getting paid $10 an hour, and then I got it. Yeah, it was it's 2009, 10, 11, so I was 18 then, and it wasn't until maybe it wasn't until I turned 21 where I got my first house. I got a house, and it was a rinky-dink little house that was literally in a whole city over, for $80. you know, a month, right? But like, I was like, I got my first check for $80. This is so cool. You know, I still have the picture somewhere. I got this check for $80 or whatever, and maybe 160, but like I have to remember. But it's like $80 to 60
at that time. I lost everything pretty much in 8 and 9. It was
people don't understand how brutal it was. Like, because a lot of the guys here are a lot younger, and they were probably entering high school when that happened. Probably, you know, entering high school or maybe still in middle school when it happened.
Oh, it was bad, man. It was really bad. So I had a business, a side business. I worked. I had left the millwright trade, and I was working as a salesperson for the Death Star, and I was at high level sales, doing really, really good, and had about 35, customers that I took care of and whatnot, and everything was good. And then my business blew up. Just went crazy, and it was like, hey, it doesn't make sense to work anymore. So I'm going to go 100 into my business. Went 100 in my business. Housing crisis came. I was good. I was, all my neighbors, they leveraged their houses, used them like ATMs, had, brand new motorcycles and dune buggies.
Can you explain that? Okay, so explain that to people a little bit, because I know some of these people in here that I know they're younger guys. I know for a fact they're younger guys. What does it mean what does it mean taking out a second mortgage versus like taking money out of my house? What does that mean for people who don't know what that means?
So at that time, the President George W. Bush at the time deregulated the real estate market by allowing people to not have to qualify for loans anymore. They were called liar loans.
Ninja loans. Yeah.
Hey, how much do you make? Yeah, I make 200 grand a year. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. And your house is worth, oh shit, man, your house is worth 800,000. Shoot, man, you paid 300 for it, man. You got $400,000 worth of equity. We can get you a $200,000 loan easy. Here, just sign the papers. And it was on, and everybody was, running to Vegas every weekend in limousines out of my neighborhood. They all had new trailers in front of their house with their new dune buggies and their motorcycles and stuff. And I was like, I was old school. I came from, you go to work early, you come home, late, and, all that kind of stuff. And you don't leverage your shit like that. So I saw that going on. And then I saw like the young people at the place I was working at that were in their, early 20s and stuff, buying $500,000 homes, and I'm like, how the fuck did you get that house? Oh, well, we got this deferred interest thing where, we're only paying, they put, so that you can afford the house, they dropped your payment down to like $1,500 on a $500,000 home, or $1,000 or whatever it was, and then at the end, they put it on the end of your mortgage so that, all that money you owe us, we'll put that at the end of the mortgage. You could refinance and get that put back in later. Prices of your house is going up, and all this. And so people use their homes as ATMs, and they were just pulling money out, and people were buying homes that they couldn't afford, and there was no regulation. They deregulated. And the banks, so here's what the banks did. The dirty secret, what the banks did, and a lot of people don't understand what really caused all this, was because of deregulation. So we have these loans. Loans are rated, A, B, C. I'm paraphrasing a little bit.
AAA and stuff.
They were able to take these A loans and these F loans and put them in the same bucket. So I've heard people say, so they were basically making coleslaw had a whole bunch of heads of cabbage, but they put one bad head of cabbage in with the coleslaw, and what it did was it dirtied the whole thing up, right? And so by adding these liar loans to these A loans, all the people started defaulting, and the banks took a hit, and they were like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. You can't let Goldman Sachs go out of business. people. Goldman Sachs is in trouble. You got to bail them out. $7 trillion bailout or some shit like that, right? And taxpayers paid for it. And guess what? Those companies foreclosed on all those people's houses, took all those people's houses, took the property, took the bailout, and they were all doing good. And that's what the banks did. And people lost their homes. I came home one day, my 2 doors down, my kids in the driveway crying, and I go over there and I go, "What's wrong, buddy?" And his little buddy that he grew up with, in the middle of the night, they were so embarrassed that they lost their house that they just packed up and left. So his little buddy was gone, and then it's like, oh shit, man. And my whole neighborhood was barren. Like people were just moving out over and over, people moving out. And because of all that, my business that was flourishing tanked, like literally tanked to 10%. I was making 10% of what I was making in a matter of 3 months. And I had quit my job. I was into my business. The company sold, and the company did a scam thing and stole everybody's pensions because they were allowed to leverage everybody's pensions at that time. And so the companies were everybody was doing the same thing. They were leveraging, pulling all the money and the value out of things, and then walking with the money. And then the pension holders, the homeowners, everybody got stuck holding the bag. And so I literally went from, everything was great, Escalade in the driveway and all that, to Escalade on the tow truck, getting hauled off and, cleaning toilets at night and trying to get another job, and, back in the millwright field when I finally was able to do it. And my house literally came up to foreclosure 5 times. Like I came home 5 times the next day. I was supposed to lose my house, and, come home and everybody's crying, and as a man, and you're working day and night trying to make something happen, getting your house foreclosed on because there's just no money in the system at that time. It was tough, man. It was tough, seeing, coming home and seeing your wife, curled up in a ball, going to lose her dream home that you finally were able to get for her. And, I fought it and finally, got back into the millwright field, got one of those Obama loans, and was able to at least save my house. Pretty much lost everything else, lost the business, lost all that, but grounded out. I mean, I was cleaning toilets at night for a house cleaning, for a college, for clean up the college and stuff, and then working during the daytime just to try and freaking survive. And it was tough, man. It was really, really tough going through shit like that. Really makes you think about leverage and, what market sentiment can do to you during leverage. And I think that's what's happened here with this bear market, is that a lot of people leveraged, especially, sacrificed into PulseChain and PulseX. I think that's where a lot of our sour grapes come from, is people who leveraged into this thing at the top, and then for the last 3 years, couldn't make it through it because they were down, 99% for the rest of the time. And they may have been counting on that or over leveraged at the top, and really got to.
Yeah, but I also because I've not planned it out, but I kind of like wrote it down a little bit, or kind of try to figure out what me and Charlie have like looked at it, is like, if we didn't have the sacrifices, Hex probably wouldn't have gone as high. I think it still would have been decent, but maybe it's not. It's very likely because of all the extra supply that was still there. Maybe we wouldn't have pumped to 56 cents. You know what I mean? We would have maybe only gone up to like 10 cents or 11 cents. And, you have tons of people there that like were able to lock in those higher prices, and, we kind of have that out there and stuff like that. And then, that was just mistakes made by a lot of people, basically, in terms of not taking profits. And like, there's people that I talk to, especially post 21, where I kind of told them, go buy a house, go buy yourself a house, something fancy. You can buy yourself like a $400,000 house. You're living in a shoebox right now. Go buy yourself a house and some listened, some didn't, and now they're like, yeah, I fucking should have bought that house. You know, at least I'd have the house right now. I'd have I'd have like a little granite floor, or if worst case, I could just sell it now and then, you know, use that capital, you know, and stuff like that's one thing. If you guys ever, when you guys, because I think almost everybody in this chat at some point is going to get their hand on $1 million or a few $1 million, and get that house, you know, get like, make sure that you're okay, you know, unless you decide to get a rental property and it's like and it's really good rental property and you're just renting where you're living, that's fine, as long as like that's what the plan is. But like kind of going to off when I was younger and stuff, you know, I probably would have house hacked, you know, get yourself into a 4-plex or a 3-plex, live in one of them, and you're basically like, worst case, you're like, oh fuck, I'm paying $500 for the mortgage with 2 people living at the place, but you're building equity up.
There was when I got my first house in oh shit, what was it? 90. Anyway, I can't remember. I bought my house in the 90s, and I wasn't going to do it because, you know, I was a young guy, I was working, you know, and I was making good money and spending that good money and having a good time and, you know, not worried too much about it. And this old timer came up to me. He's like in his 50s and at work, and he said, "Hey man, look, I know you're living the high life. Everything seems good here, and this, you know, this blue collar money's, you know, doing you good." He goes, "But I don't care what you do." He goes, "You beg, you borrow, you steal, you get yourself a damn house." And so I took that advice and did so. And it was the best thing I ever did, you know, because it was, you know, I was able to move that into more properties and you know, that doesn't save me from market sentiment, of course, like I said, but I was able to do so because I did it. Now I feel for the people right now because of the interest rates and everything that's going on and the prices of homes and, you know, the income that's coming in. But, you know, I remember Richard saying some things about diversifying and how stupid it was to diversify. And I don't think that he was talking about real world assets and you know, things like that. I think that he was talking about crypto itself, or maybe investment assets, stocks, bonds, that kind of stuff. Because we all know, you know, the value of crypto. And I've always said that the only thing that bothers me, I think that crypto is the best asset for you to, yes, get yourself into. But regulatory, market sentiment, bear markets, all those things, you have to avoid the pitfalls. And, you know, one swipe of the pen in regulatory could end this whole thing for everybody. Eventually, or you know, that's a possibility. So you've always got to hedge yourself for that stuff and do the things out there. Like I'm literally right now looking at a brick and mortar. I'm going to put a brick and mortar together just because I want to diversify into it and have a little brick and mortar place to putz around with. So I'm gonna do that myself and other things. I'm not gonna just stay so heavily weighted in crypto all the time. You know, there's other things that I'm involved in, but you know, crypto is your best shot at getting X's. Everything else is work because they've all been done, you know. Let me read this real quick. Rhino 927, for all the young bucks out there, go watch the movie The Big Short and you will see what RG is talking about. Yes, exactly. That The Big Short movie was exactly what I'm talking about and what deregulation did to the real estate market. And one of the hardest times in our financial histories recently, you know, like the Great Depression. It was rough, man. I mean, my neighborhood was barren. Like you could tell where everybody was gone because all the yards were dead. You know, all the grass was dead. Yeah. There was like a handful of houses on every street that were left, you know, with us living in them, you know. And Jimmy says something real cool that we should talk about a little bit too, and that's taking profits and doing it responsibly. If you're out there and you're selling your crypto, go out there and set up limit orders, guys. Set up limit orders. Look at your, you know, I think one of the guys to follow and watch for this stuff is dollar cost here, because I know they're going to be talking about when people should be thinking about taking profits and how they should be setting themselves up for success. You know, if you're requiring to live off crypto, or need to live off crypto, or need to supplement with your crypto, you've leveraged yourself, get out of your leverage position, refund your savings accounts, your bank accounts, your go buy a house like DCC was saying, or whatever properties or whatever it is that you're getting into. Move yourself out of crypto during a bull market. And, you know, look, you're never going to call the top. You're never going to call the top. You're going to always be chasing the dragon. Don't get stuck like a crack addict, chasing the dragon up and down. Make yourself go, when it goes here, I'm going to sell a little bit here. 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 And then when it goes back down, I'm going to buy some here and I'm going to buy some here, you know, and be damned where the top and the bottom is. Make your plan of what you're going to do, and you will end up doing well. I've known a lot of people that didn't do that strategy, or they got themselves, you know, in a position here during this last bull market, just watching it. And then what did they do? They watched number go down for 3 years.
Don't get up on the number, you guys, too. That's a big one. I had tons of guys I told this to, and they just caught everybody. Like, I'm gonna start taking profits as soon as the one that gets me is when it's the price of a house and they don't understand it. Like, no, there's this house I want to buy. It's 14 acres plus this and this. It's by this river that I really like, and this and this. It's this much money. I just need to hit that number. Dog, I can tell you right now, you ain't gonna hit it. You ain't gonna hit it, bro. It ain't happening.
Your best bet is to find a place that's reasonable. It's like, I can live in that place and be happy and be paid for. You know, find something like that. Something that you can go, hey, I can stow away here. If I don't have to pay rent and all I'm paying is taxes or whatever, I'll buy that one cash and, you know, use that as, you know, and then, you know, if you do make more, if the top goes higher, whatever, bluff top, you make some more money, then you go get your dream house or something bigger or whatever. And then you have a rental, you know, but if not, then you've got a place that you can go, you know, tuck your tail between your legs and wait until the storm's over from the next bear market. Cause guess what? It's coming. And Absolutely. It's closer than you think. The bear market's always closer than you think.
Yeah, I think we still have time. Like, if I was being like the most like bearish son of a bitch on the planet, like we got like 5 months before the top, and then probably the rest of the year really before it's over. You know, that's like if me being like peak drama queen. There's a good shot. We're heading into 26. But
that's my hedge. Like, I think that's what I should be looking for is end of the year, you know, the next 5 months. And then, that's,
you know why December sucks? December sucks for crypto because there's a tax incentive to sell your crypto. And then people look at the cash and go, do I really need to buy back in? Shit. I don't know.
Money gang. I don't know anybody that can pay them loans back either. That's one of the biggest scams that's been put on people. You know, it's do
you want to know from 2010 to 2025 who are the largest, what's the largest group of people that have the largest amount of debt in student loans?
Say what now? Do
you know which group of people is the largest cohort of people that have the most amount of debt?
As far as age limit, or what are you talking about?
No, just the age of time from 2010 to now.
I mean, obviously the college age folks that were in from 10 to
it's mostly women choosing bad, and a lot of them have chosen very boys really, but like guys are going to college less. Especially it started around 2015. The drop off of guys. I mean, it's been going down for a while now, but like colleges are mostly filled up with girls, and there's less and less guys going. and there a lot of the guys are tending to go into fields where like you can make money from it. There's a lot of women that are getting. I mean, it's
we're also been turned away from colleges too.
Yeah, but
we've
like
bastion of liberal, what do you call it, mind fuck or whatever, and a lot of the young guys don't want to be part of that,
No, it's just because it's been proven. I mean, really, like it was kind of funny. Like it was like I was made fun of for being a blue collar worker, and then 5 years out of 6 years out of school, I was making more money than everybody like put together, damn near, in my friend groups.
And that's people who are, but that's not everybody's case.
No, right, and that's not everyone's bread and butter either. Like not everyone can work outside and do shit. Like
not everybody can turn it into a business either. You became an entrepreneur at a very young age. A lot of these guys that go out there and do that kind of stuff, they end up with their first name on their shirt, and that's what my old man used to tell me. He said, if you look down, boy, and you got your first name on your shirt, you didn't fucking make it. So he said, keep going, and
what does it mean? You work at a McDonald's or something like that?
Yeah. If you're a blue collar worker, you usually got a shirt with your first name on it, right? And if you work anywhere else, you got either a suit and tie or you're wearing a polo shirt or you're your own business. And that was my dad had like a whole bunch of those one-liner things like that. But he, I remember out there, 10, 15 years into my millwright trade, just
right.
dog ass tired, beat the fuck up, greasy, dirty, pissed, angry, hating my job, and looking down and seeing my name on my, shirt on the little tag. And I was just like, fucking old man, God damn it. He was right. And that was one of the things that always, made me think about being an entrepreneur, was because, you go out there and work. I was working. I mean, don't get me wrong. I make good money. I was, millwrights aren't slouches. We make good money, but I worked, freaking 16, 17-hour days, 6-7 days a week. And it was a beat. I was beat down after many years of that. And so that was what always made me want to be an entrepreneur, because I saw my bosses, going on trips. I was buying them Ferraris. I was buying them fucking, diesel pushers that worth $1 million. I mean, my bosses did well. And I was out there scrapping, working my ass off to keep the wife at home.
There is nothing wrong with the job, you guys. There is nothing wrong with the job. But you're not, it's like, I'm not going like a job's just over broke. It's not true, but like for most people it is, in a way. That's nothing I've worked at. All right, bro. but it's like, if you guys are in your early 20s or you're just getting out of college, right? I mean, beat your buddy. I mean, this is like you're like, I would say specifically like 27 and down. That's where you can fucking burn the midnight oil and work 7 days a week. If it makes sense to do so, do it, or go follow your dreams right now and go do it. Because society doesn't have an expectation of you being rich until you're much older. There's something like it's in the red pill, and I teach it in the courses, but like, how do I don't want to say it on here because I say it way crude. It's like, I like saying the really crude version of it because then everybody understands it. And
say it. It's okay here.
I mean, it's the cost of maintaining coochie goes up. The cost of maintaining coochie for guys. I got to talk about the guys, because the expectation is, when you're 18 years old, you can take a girl on a date to the movies or Chipotle. You're doing good. 21, why don't you have a car? You're still at 24. Why, let's get a hotel, or like, you don't have a, why don't you have your own apartment? And it just keeps going up. This is why people are perpetually keep breaking up in that early first year and a half or so, because the expectation starts going like, cool, we're past the fun part a little bit, but like, then she starts looking at you like a prospect and going like, you're not advancing. And like most of I mean, it's sad to say, but like 80% of the time it is just about money, really. It's fucking sad. I wish it wasn't the case, but it is. It always is. and it's also not just about our friends and that, because it's the other way around as well. But it's this expectation when you're young, when you're 15 years old, no one's expecting you to have a fucking car, have insurance, have your own place, have a business, have people working for you, or you work for some person. No, you're 15 years old. Let's go to the movie theater. Let's get some candy, and let's go eat a pizza or something. Like, you're fucking ball. That's a good time, But for guys, it keeps going up as you get older. So that's why no one's tripping about you being broke at 24 or 22, because you should be still in college or college.
You should be drinking booze and throwing up in alleys, and
correct.
So, but I mean, you've got to, when women get to, a certain age, and there's this, there
needs to be a reality check on women.
I don't categorize men and women in one category or the other, but in general, there is inherently, and and the red pill guys always talk about this stuff too. It's about the differences between men and women, and there's differences, meaning that there are like ancestral or just innate things in us that women are looking for a man that provides and protects, and a man is going out to provide and protect. And that's just kind of innately. Now, that's not everybody, and that's not, general. That's just, that's the human nature. So that's why these women at that point start going, hey, bro, look, check this out. It's time for you to stop drinking, throwing up in alleys, and go get a good job, and start thinking about putting a ring on this finger. And, there comes a point where they're like, they're tribal, or not tribal, but their ancestral instincts, the word's slipping me right now, but are just telling them that
maternal instincts or whatever. Yeah.
Wait, that's not it either, but
That's right. Okay.
And it starts kicking in, and that's when guys start getting their feet held to the fire, and it's like, okay.
Some guys don't like it and they fucking run away, or some of them want to do it, but they just can't. It's tough. It's hard. It's really, 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 really hard, and don't leave your.
Tell them.
If you have a minimum wage job and you don't like it, quit it. Get another one. That's easy. The hard part is one or two levels above that to replace that one. That's where it gets. It's like, I hate my job so much. How much you getting paid? I'm getting about $31 an hour right now. Well, that's a pretty decent job right now, especially for your age, and that's pretty good, really. I know guys in their 40s don't even make that, which is sad. But but could you replace that job? I don't know. If you're gonna do it, start now. You look for a job while you have a job.
Bro, I left the millwright field about a little over 10 years ago, I guess it was, maybe a little less than that. And when I started working for another company, when I was the director of their whole millwright program, I was hiring guys, and I was hiring brand new off the street guys that couldn't do shit, were just learning.
Today.
Yeah, today. Like 3 years ago, and they were getting paid as much as I left the field in. I was hiring new guys and paying them as much as when I left the field. And these guys were complaining and not working, and the work ethic was just horrible. But anyway, I don't want to sit here and point fingers at the generation or whatever, but I couldn't get people to do the work, the blue collar work. They just didn't want to. Can
I give you a little bit, like one little thing, like a little bit of a, not explanation, but more of there's a reason for that. It's because my generation and older, basically my dad and my mom and my uncles were trying their fucking best. For the love of fucking God, go work in an office. Please do not do this. My dad wanted me to be a judge, basically. My dad wanted me. I'm just being serious. My dad wanted me to be a lawyer, a judge. My mom was like, not that. Just don't work. Do something else. Don't do blue collar anything. And also the schools went out of their way to push that as well. Go to college, which is nothing's wrong with that. And getting an education is incredible. Like, I'm not saying don't get an education, and true. It's like, but it's just a hell of a decision to push on 18-year-olds. And I think it's really wrong to have this college debt crisis that we're in, that you can't bankrupt it because the government's making, like, Trump just did this, right? Now, I don't have any college, like what Trump said, what Trump said and the government said, which I do like that they said this, but also I can see the other side, which is just fucking terrible, is that you should, as a taxpayer, you shouldn't have to pay someone else's college debt because you didn't go. Like, why am I paying for college for other people? That, I mean, like, I didn't, like, if you didn't go to college or you paid your college, why are you paying the college debt of someone else? Which is true, absolutely true, right? But no, and of course it is, but like it is useful, right? It is useful, and some people like are like lost, like for a long time, like some people wake up.
There it is. Oh, there it is. There it is. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
My buddy Myron, right? My buddy Myron from Fresh and Fit. He just went to Penn State, went super viral for shitting on. He just went in there to destroy these liberal girls and these dudes and shit. And then these dudes would come out white knighting for these liberal girls. And then he was like, "She ain't gonna fuck you, bro." You defending that my lady's honor isn't, she's not going to fuck you, bro. Like, I know what you're doing. Like, it's like, cause we see through the whole game of that, but like college is very important. If you're getting an engineering job or computer science is getting rough now, but like growing up, you had a computer science degree, you're going to get a very good job that pays really well.
And it's not even about the job. It's not, because
it is in college. Absolutely, it is. Like, that's the problem, is that you like, oh, let me go get a degree in basket weaving, or let me spend $400,000. This is a real story, by the way. Let me get $400,000 in debt to become a professional tuba player.
So
real. That's real, by the way. That's real. There's really people out here with $400,000 of debt from being a tuba player.
So the cost of college is the problem. The for-profit colleges are a problem.
I'll be right back. 1 second. Okay. 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's where the problem is. It's not the college itself. It's not the education itself. And it's funny. This is so funny. This whole freaking red pill liberal bullshit, freaking conservative bullshit, pinning things on people. Fucking smart people teach at colleges. The smartest people in the world, as far as education go, work in colleges. Period. End of story. That's where they're at. They teach our military. They teach our space developers. They teach our doctors, our lawyers. All of these people are taught in these colleges. And there's a different society in those colleges. Now, the money thing, the scam thing with the money is a problem. That is a problem. But going to college and learning is different. I didn't go to college. I went to the streets. I learned how to become an entrepreneur in the streets. I grew up in Inglewood. I went and got a blue collar. I went in the Marine Corps because that's what I had to do to get off the streets. I had a blue collar job. Now, I knew that the people that made money, that had more comfortable lives, that had better lives, were two different people than me. Either they went to fucking college, or they were entrepreneurs. And guess what? I was too fucking dumb from eating crayons in the Marine Corps and dealing drugs on the street to become a college educated lawyer, doctor, physicist, or whatever. It just wasn't in my cards. But I knew I could be an entrepreneur. I knew how to sell stuff. I knew how to go out and hustle. So I chose that route to get me out of the blue collar world. Now, anybody who shits on colleges, you got no fucking clue, because I know entrepreneurs and I know people who have graduated from college. Now, I'm not talking about this scam thing where people are paying $400,000. I think that's bullshit. And that's on the for-profit colleges and all that crap, and the banks that took everybody's money and just, oh yeah, just get a loan, all that bullshit. It didn't used to be like that. This is all something that's happened over the last couple decades that this shit's gone on. But your ways out of blue collar work or working for the man or getting stuck in a cubicle is college or entrepreneurship. And I see too many people shitting on colleges. College educated people are a different class of folks. I'm sorry. And I'm talking about what they learn and the connections that they make in these colleges, the networking that they do, the value of the networking of people that go to college, people that work with professors, people that get PhDs and write papers and become part of that whole system. Those people are on a different level. They work in different kinds of jobs. They make different kind of money, and they live in a different kind of society. Period. End of story. I'm not saying that they're any better than anybody. I'm saying that they are different. Now, I know guys, blue collar workers that make just the same amount or more than some of those folks.
It's hard work. It's hard work. It's hard work.
And not everybody can get into college. Not everybody can do blue collar work, and not everybody can be an entrepreneur. So you have to find your lane and work your lane, and don't shit on everybody else's. And I mean, I see people shitting on colleges. I see people shitting on, blue collar workers. I see, it's like, no, man,
they shit on everybody. Everyone shits on everybody. And then it's all right. So okay. So the pendulum when I was in school, so I can't speak to RG3 when you were in high school. Obviously it's always, no matter what, if, it's as long as it's from post World War II onwards, right? You can be a blue collar and provide for your family, but they always kind of told you, even in school, was go to college because it can benefit you and you may be able to get a better track in your life, which was true, right? But the best thing that I this is a part of the stuff that I'm going to be teaching later on, especially in the bear market, because right now this makes no sense to teach it right now, but misery loves company. But it's teaching learn how to make friends. Networking is just making friends and having people like you, and your network is your net worth is so true. It's very, very true, right? And you just being a good person, being friends with people that make a lot of money and stuff, that make money in crypto, you might be able to get a buddy of yours to invest in something with you or do something, and you just got to be the sort of person that's trustworthy. One thing that I can tell you, one of the biggest things, as soon as you start making money, I can really tell you this. If it's sub 10 grand, I would probably as long as it's 10 grand's not a lot of money to you, but if it's 10, I'm gonna give you this money this one time. Don't ask me again. It's a gift. I mean, you don't have to put it that crazy, right? You don't have to put it that crazy, but you're gonna ruin relationships letting people borrow money, especially if it's money that you want back, which is that's bad. You know what I mean? Don't lend people money. Oh my God, I have the stories I could tell you guys. Me and Charlie have taught 18,000 fucking people in the last 4.5 years, almost 5 years now. And the horror stories that I've heard, and we warned people even during 2020 and 21 and 22 and 23 and 24, and we're now in 25. And, if your brother needs some help, just give him the grand and say, hey, bro, I'm giving you this to help you out. Don't pay me back. Yeah. But you gotta fix your shit, or something like that, but because and then two, some people just keep letting it happen where they're just their family's ATM, which is a huge one, or and this is why I tell people also to keep your finances a little private as well, especially if you're not doing YouTube, you shouldn't be yapping your mouth everywhere. They're oh, I made this and I made that and I did,
That's the one thing that I can say is that I owe no human being a dime. I don't owe anybody shit other than having to pay for, property and things like that, loans.
Captain owes me a couple cigars, but besides that, let's just keep going.
Somebody was asking earlier about Monte Cristos, but I don't know what happened.
I like those. That's just you can find them everywhere. It's the reason. Look, I never smoked. I literally didn't even smoke a cigarette. I didn't even have a cigarette until I was I had one cigarette when I was 23, I think. I tried it out and stuff, and I was I think this sucks. But
good.
I like a cigar once in a while. But RG knows. I smoke a cigar maybe once or twice a month, if that. But they're really nice. But especially if you don't smoke them, do not go with a heavily dark cigar because you are going to throw up. I promise you.
Well,
you will.
And that's a myth too. By the way, that's a myth. There's light colored cigars out there.
They're strong.
that will jack you. Now, in general, yeah, a dark cigar is a stronger cigar. But now let me educate the Americans here, right? You don't have Cubans. Your Monte Cristos, your Romeo y Julietas, your Cohibas, your Partagas, all of those, even though they're the same names as the Cuban cigars, they are not Cuban cigars. They are from other places. And they took the name when the embargo in Cuba went on. They took the names, and like if you look at Cohibas in America, they have what we call them red dots back in the 80s when they came out with them. There's in the Cohiba, there is a red dot, or the C or the O or whatever. That is not a real Cuban cigar. I've got a real one right here, which I paid a fortune for when I was out in Europe, and they're garbage.
You can go to Cuba now. You can go to Cuba now. You
really want. Bring cigars back now too. They'll let you bring some personal use ones. You know,
what is it, like two boxes per person, I think, or something? What was it? I forgot.
I think it's like under $800 worth or something like that, which is like 2 boxes, like one box. Like you can't get a Bajica for like $2,000 a box for a Cohiba Bajica.
Raw sex.
Like box, $2,000 a box for a Cohiba Bajica. It's crazy.
Yeah, and look, and that's totally the whole thing is about, like, we all have vices. We like everybody either they abuse drinking Coca-Cola, or they have, it's just about having some self-control and, having some fun. I know Ross fucking killed me with that. Shit was so funny.
I'm going to have Obi-Wan come in here and teach us this next week.
Right. But like one thing that I told our guys that like kind of was like scratching a record. Some of our dudes were kind of mad that we said this, but at the time they thanked us later on, was like during 21, especially during like the middle of 21, we told people don't quit your fucking job. Do not quit your job. Do not quit. We were anal about telling people that. And then, our guys were like, dog, thank you, dude, for telling me that, man. I was about to quit my job, move over here, and I'd be flat broke right now if I did that. And that's that was one of the biggest things if you're 21, you had no job at all, bro. Let's just be honest. But like, we're talking about, like, I saw a lot of guys that are in their late 20s, especially kind of mid 30s, really mess up their lives by, doing the shuffle a little bit. And they had to go back if they're lucky. And if not, they kind of are in a shittier position now, but maybe smarter, maybe made some more money. But like, if you really are doing something that depresses you, and you're single, do something else. You can. But like, you also have to look at your position where, like, if you have a bunch of kids, that's a decision you decided to do, and you gotta support them, and you gotta take care of your family and shit. And like, that's like, there's a lot of benefit. I don't know, RG can talk about there's lots of benefits of taking risk, but then, but you also, you're a tapestry, you're a blockchain of decisions that's led you to the point of where you are in your life right now.
Yep. Handle your business, right?
How does it feel hanging out with Richard Hart, knowing no one's seen him for years? It was cool. Like, Richard was exactly how I thought he was. He was a good guy, a really good guy. He was funny. It was funny kind of being in the, like, I think we were waiting for when we got to like the Fresh and Fit studio, they were still interviewing somebody else. So it was kind of funny just being in the waiting room, and just Richard just like sprawled out, laying on a fucking couch, just chilling. That's and stuff and everything. He's a good guy. Like, yeah, I got nothing negative to say about him.
Nothing, really down to earth kind of guy. Even shy a little bit in person, and just a good dude. I really like Richard, and it'll be great to have him back when he does come back. All right, man. Well,
don't abuse that.
I'm getting ready to shut it down. One thing I did want to say was shout out to somebody I lost this last week. One of my buddies from K-Rock radio station, Jed the Fish.
Oh.
Jed passed away, cancer, about a week ago, and it was rough for that whole fam. So anyway, shout out to Jed. You were a good man, dude. It was a pleasure knowing you, and man, you were a funny dude, man. What a funny dude. But yeah, he passed away this last week, and world is a more somber place without him. So walk in balance, buddy. All right, my man. Anything you want to say before we close it up?
Yeah, I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. I would imagine probably tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then I'm going to be doing Moon Gang on my channel on Sunday as well. So I'm literally going to be streaming tomorrow, Sunday, Monday. So the next 3 day weekend, you're going to get a lot of DCC on YouTube. So yeah, be on the lookout and go follow RG3. Give the stream a like. And yeah, I'm going to be on the next cigar stream you end up doing.
Yeah. You're going to come hang out with us. So yeah, Thursdays, guys, you can see us on Discord Syndicate. We're doing it's just cigars and basic crypto. So some of you folks won't want to hang out, but you want to have a stick with us or whatever, and talk cigars and help break people into crypto at the base level. Then that show's for you. It's called Burn It All, and it's on Thursday nights here on Discord Syndicate at 7. And thanks everybody for coming, DC. Bro, it was good having you, man. I appreciate you.
I'm gonna have RG3 on the stream as well. We're gonna have him on the channel as well. Yeah.
I'm gonna come out there. I like coming out live, bro.
Oh, if you want to do it live, let me know ahead of time, because like I'm always traveling around. You gotta
Right on. Yeah, real quick thing. Anybody? I think there's a court case for Roger Ver. I don't know if it's Monday or did they say it was tomorrow? Or
I don't know. I gotta look.
Hold on, let me look real quick. King sent me a message in Telegram. It is. Oh shit, where'd it go? Let me
Bull
see.
Market isn't over, you guys. Bull market isn't over.
Like at least it announce it. So anybody in the LA area, if you want to go now, Roger's not going to be there. I think Roger's stuck on an island in Spain. When I was out in Spain, I was going to try and look him up, but he's on one of the islands. Gotcha. But where the heck is it? Oh, there it is. Boom. It is going to be on Los Angeles for court dismissal next month. Oh, okay. It's not right away. I thought he said tomorrow or something, but anyway, no, it's not. It's going to be, why does he, I thought I saw the date in here. I got a hostage video of Roger in there. Free Roger. Shoot. Well, keep an eye out for it, guys. It's in May sometime. And he's, if anybody wants to come out, I don't think he's going to be here. But again, if you want to show some support for a crypto dude, I haven't always agreed with everything Roger has done or said. But he has always been kind to the Hex community and Richard and whatnot. So, you know,
go get his book. Go get his book.
His
book is like, it opened my eyes a little bit, like, kind of what's going on in the space and stuff. A lot of the conspiracy theories, even Richard laughed about me. Like when I was streaming with Richard, he kind of says, "Oh my, you think these 3-letter agencies are knocking on people's door?" They did in the old US of A. They did. And Roger was kind of there's a reason they're after his ass.
Well, that's recent history too, though. That wasn't happening. That just started happening over the last couple of years when they started really pounding on us and trying to, send subpoenas and crap. But anyway, all right, everybody. Thanks for coming. We'll catch you on Thursday. If you want to come check us out, we will see you then. Take care.
Peace.
Adios.